What is up, Financial Freedom Fast fam? We have a special episode today with my man, Aaron Velky. He was actually on the first episode ever of the Financial Freedom Fast podcast. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom after this episode, you can learn more about Aaron, what he does, and the transformations that he's having on people's life. So this is coaching week. We are throwing down some awesome mindset coaching information today. And again, I've got Aaron Velky with me. He is a high performance coach with his company, Get Out of Your Own Way. And he has an exercise that we are going to go through today. And there is a document that you can reach out to me and request. I will get this document sent over to you, and you can go through this exercise yourself. But without further ado, we are going to jump it over to Aaron, and we are going to go through this. Aaron Velky, welcome to the show again, and thanks for being here, brother.
Dude, always excited to support you, man. Really thrilled to be here. And if you're tuned in, I hope you're ready to go fast because we're going to make this a hell of a 20 minutes.
Let's do it.
All right. So if you're tuned in, our topic today is going to be about developing focus. There's a couple different principles that on the pathway to growth, you're going to have to confront. One of which is making sure that you're focused. So today, our objective is to give you a clear understanding of the things that are not your focus, just as much as they are uh, distracting you, as they are slowing you down. It's really important to think of focus backwards. So when entrepreneurs begin their journey, wherever you are in yours, I'm going to speak directly to you today. Your level of clarity is going to determine your velocity. Clarity for a lot of people is this very nebulous idea. You write it out, you put it on paper, you've got the steps, you've got the map. I like to think of clarity very differently, and I would encourage you to adopt or at least consider a new definition. So here's my definition of clarity. Clarity is the removal of undesirable options. I'll say that one more time. Clarity is the removal of undesirable options. And when you look at the speed necessary to make a lot of change in your life, if you are on the precipice of leaving your job for financial freedom in the pursuit of more, if you are scaling an enterprise, or if you are the individual that just recognizes that you got some potential that's untapped, having clarity via this definition is a lot simpler to understand. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to recognize that there are things that you can remove from your attention span, from your action set, and from your consideration that create clarity. So, what we're going to do today is go through a very simple exercise on focus that will help you get more clarity into where you should be spending your time, where you can be delegating, where you can be hiring help. And most importantly, if you're going to focus, we need to understand what's going to get you the return on your energy. So there's return on investment that's important. But when we think about us as the driver of the business, we've got to think about return on energy. So what I'd like you to do is to take out a sheet of paper. It can be square, it can be triangular, it can be cardstock, it can be basic printer paper. It doesn't matter to me. You can also download the guide and the tool called Developing Focus. So reach out to Matt and he can help you get the PDF version of this if you'd like the more official document. But a sheet of paper will do fine.
Yeah, and Aaron, I'm just gonna jump on. I'm gonna share my screen as well. So for anyone that's might be watching this as a video, I can have that document up for them so they see it here.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that, Matt. So if you've got a sheet of paper, you might use your Remarkable, you might use your iPad. It doesn't matter. I'm a big Remarkable fan. It's my device of choice. Whatever you have, I want you to draw a T section in the middle of the paper. Draw crosshairs, divide it into 4 quadrants. We're going to create quadrants that help you identify where you should be spending your time and therefore where you need to focus. Each of these quadrants get a label. In the upper left, that quadrant is labeled distractions. In the lower left, you have playing small. Now, these two areas, I'm going to define really quickly before we jump to the other side. These two areas are where we tend to get lost the most. You can think of distractions as your normal Netflix, social media, relationships that may not fill your cup or support you on your dream. That's pretty normal. You can also think about things that you don't like to do, you're not very good at, but you feel like you got to do them. And as you grow your business, the better you can get at learning more about your own distractions, the more you can get clear on the awareness of your activities, the better off you are. So, this category of distractions is a really important one. And for many of you, if you are not yet feeling like you've created success or you're not yet moving as fast as you'd like, this category is probably going to be really, really full. So, pay attention very closely as you journal about that. On the bottom side, we've got playing small, and playing small can be hard to define. So I want to explain where it typically shows up and then get you moving in identifying. Playing small is your one to one wins, your comfort zone, and the activities that you believe will have a big outcome, but really don't. So if you look at the one to one wins, so you might say, okay, I'm selling a new product. I'm going to go door to door to door. So that would be playing small. I'm going one door knock for one sale, or I'm contacting one person to reach one potential client. It could be that you are in the process of quitting your job or building out your first investment, and you're looking home by home by home on Zillow or some other listing site. If you're going one to one to one, it's playing small. The other thing to look at is the comfort zone. What are you currently doing that feels like it's just a continuity of what you have been doing? There's lots of ways to think about this. It could be that you've taken your weekends to start to build your company and you've got a good pattern selling your wares at the farmer's market, but you're only able to do what you can do on weekends because you've gotten locked in this every weekend I go to the farmer's market pattern. When we start to identify areas where we're in our comfort zone, we start to recognize that everything that we want is beyond the comfort zone. So taking a look at, where do I feel safe? Where do I feel like I can do this? I can trust myself through it. You're probably going to find a playing small. So these two areas on the left side of the graph are the most important for you to be able to identify and eventually to remove. So this whole left area is a great, great, great pocket of opportunities to delegate, opportunities to remove, like we said, the removal of undesirable options, and to recognize that they probably aren't worth your time in the long run and therefore deserve some critical attention of change. The left side is change. Let's go to the right side really quickly. In the upper right corner of your segments, your quadrants, you've got priorities. These are the things that you love, your values. If you care about your health and your fitness, if you care about your relationships, if you really value travel, then it belongs up in this segment. And you could put things in your business that are priorities. You could also put things in your personal life that are priorities. As you become an entrepreneur, you'll start to recognize that the lines between work and play aren't quite as distinct as they were when you have a job. But this segment of identifying our priorities helps us really get clear on what matters to us. And it's okay to stay in the terrain of what I love and my values. I find that people grow fastest when they are aligned in their goals and their values. So I want you to write out as many things that you have that are aligned with your values in your current activity sets. So, for example, you might have, I go for runs in the morning. I've got a great morning routine and I really value that. You might say, I really care about nurturing relationships and I make time on a regular basis or on a daily basis to catch up with an old friend or meet with someone in my network that I could potentially help, serve, or do business with. Those are great things to have in your priority box. You might also find that if you're assessing you in business, if you've got an enterprise and you're spending a lot of time there, that your priorities could be the things that you love about your job, your particular role. It could be that you love doing the social media. It could be that you love writing content and posting online and interacting with customers. It could be that you love sending the thank you letters that add a personal touch. Anything that is high value to you, put in this category. And it doesn't mean you're doing it all the time. It just means that it's a priority for you. I think in some ways, as you get more capable in business, you get more distracted. You have way more options. And it starts to become easier and easier to say, I either love this part or I don't. So we want to stay focused on what we love, what are our priorities, what are our values in that upper right quadrant. Now let's shift to the big one, the big kahuna, what really matters. In the bottom right corner, we're going to label this segment playing big. Playing big is your one to many, your home run swings, the areas where you're great and your zone of genius exists. It's the terrain where you feel like you're in flow state and magic is happening. It's the identity that you really, really want to strive to become. And in this category, you want to look at the areas that are probably outside of your comfort zone, but you know have a big, big, big impact on your life and your business. So playing big might be speaking on stage instead of going one to one with your sales. Playing big might be booking a podcast, searching for individuals that have a platform where they could share what you do, what you love, and what you're passionate about. Playing big might be extending yourself into the lens of social media. Social media can certainly be a distraction if you're the consumer, but it might also be the area where you've got to get bold and brave on camera and start sharing your opinions online. So while that represents an ambiguity, it's all about the intention. Playing big is also the lanes that you might find you are on fire in. If you've got some message to say and you are great at sharing on camera or on stage, that's a great place to do it. Great place to write what that is to you. Maybe it's sales. Maybe you're great at creating tools for people. Maybe you're awesome at identifying properties and making relationships that turn into business. Whatever it is for you, write it out in the bottom right hand corner. And this entire exercise, now on the right side of the column, is where we want to stay. So we've got priorities and playing big. We want to be on the right. It's these things that present the right opportunities for us. That's why it's on the right side. And if we can start to remove, again, the removal of undesirable options, if we can remove anything on the left side, what we end up with is the things that we love that are priorities, they align with our values, and the things that we're great at that help us grow and expand fast. Many of you may be reading business books. You may have heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. You may have heard of the book, The One Thing. All of these books are, in some capacity, sharing concepts similar to this in different formats. What we're looking at is where are you spending your time? And if you're going to get an ROE, a return on energy, we want to be on the right side of this sheet. Now, I think that there's a really cool and powerful use and utility of this that might feel like it's a stretch for you, but that's a good thing. So I'm going to tell it to you. When you do this sheet, you can do this for your day, you can do it for your week, you can do it for your month, your quarter, you can do it for your business, you can do it for your personal life. It applies to all those things. That's the utility of the tool. What really matters, though, is that you're aware enough to put things in their proper box. If you don't know where something goes, tip number one, it goes on the left. By default, if you are unsure if it's a playing big, priority, playing small, or a distraction, it belongs on the left. And more than likely, it's going to be a distraction. If you're not sure where to put it, it's probably a distraction. Tip number two is that you might need a degree of tracking to even put things on your list. a big problem in the world of entrepreneur land is that we don't know what we're spending our time on. Fires pop up, calls come in,
Mm,
customers want something, renters say there's a problem. And you may not know because you're in the swirl and thick of handling the survival mechanisms that you've put in place. And if you don't, there are some great methods online that people can show you. You can time track in 15-minute blocks. You can keep a journal log of everything that you're doing. But if
mm,
you're going to really do this well, you need some degree of awareness as to where is my time currently going. If you think about handling fires, that's going to belong on probably playing small. Is it important? Absolutely. But
mm,
that might not be something that you're great at. If you're dealing with customers that need something small answered, they have an email with just a simple one-line question, or they need something immediately to help them get to the next place in your business proposition,
mhm,
you're probably at playing small. And all of this comes down to some awareness. So this sheet is really designed to give you a framework to make assessments and then create focus in your life. If you're focused on the right side of the sheet, you're going to experience growth and probably more joy in your day to day. And if you're stuck on the left, you're probably going to feel burnt out, fatigued, frustrated, overwhelmed, underfed, undersaturated,
mm,
underpaid. And eventually, you're going to find that the only way forward is to move to the right side. The last tip I'll give you here is that by design, you will eventually transition everything in the playing big column as you grow into the playing small column. As you expand, what was playing big will become playing small. What was
mm,
playing small might move up into being a distraction. So there's mobility in this depiction, in this chart, in this tool.
mm,
As you grow and revisit it, nothing will stay the same. So take it on, go into it with a degree of awareness. And as you experience a bit more clarity, I would invite you to reach out. We are happy to help you figure out where you can make change or how to make change. If you are particularly stuck, or you're recognizing that the reason you're stuck on the left is because of your habits, your
mm,
patterns, and your beliefs. So it's a great tool, Matt. I'm happy to share it. I appreciate you let me dig and riff for 20 minutes. And I hope that
mhm.
you listening get a lot of value out of this reflection exercise.
I think they definitely got a lot of value, and I'm just gonna ask two quick follow-up questions on this for our listeners that don't have, and this is an assumption I'm just gonna throw out, and you tell me what you think. But for our listeners who aren't in the business space yet, maybe they don't even have a business, but they're just living everyday life, working their job, working a W-2 job, maybe where this is going to be, I would assume in that position there's going to be less I need to hire someone to do this, and probably more of the I need to throw away that activity. And then as they move towards the right and building up more of a business style, they'll probably start to get some of these I need to hire people out for this. Is that correct?
Super, super well said. If you're in that position, the playing big for you is going to be a very small list of things that's really important. If it's an investment property that you're going after, then it should be hunting for properties, putting in offers, finding a realtor. Those activities are your playing big.
Right.
If you are looking to build a business, it might be finding your first customer, building your product, or selling online.
Mm,
Something that is concretely and crisply going to move the needle for you. If it's let's design a website, let's do business cards, like that
mm,
stuff all goes on the left. So Matt, I think it's a great, great, great question. If you're still working and you're trying to build your way out, be hyper mindful that the activities that you're looking for are really, really going to drive you forward and
mm,
not just feel like you're moving, right? There's a big difference between progress and movement,
mm.
and playing big should feel like progress.
I like that. Yeah, and it does, and it will, right? Because once you start doing these big things and you start proving to yourself that you can do these big things, it's almost like you transform yourself into a new person and you realize, hey, I thought that this was big before and now I'm doing this. So this is like a medium-sized task for me. And now my playing big just got even bigger. And that's where life, I feel like, starts to expand and grow there. And one last question that I have for someone who does have this business right now and they can't fully justify in their head to hire, and I run into the same problem. They can't justify hiring someone out for those tasks because they don't think that it will have an impact on them or they'll receive the return. What would you say to them? Would you say test it out? Would you say try it out? Or, where do you see that mindset?
So testing it out is not a bad way to answer that question. I'll be a bit more punchy and say that if that's where you are, your economics are flawed. The the best thing that you can do is look at the area that you're best at and what it's earning the business. Typically, if you're the number one in the business, if you're the one that started it, it's going to be sales. It's going to have to be sales.
Right.
So if you take the amount of time that you're doing your distractions and playing small tasks and reoriented that towards sales, not only would you eclipse the cost of hiring help, but you would see growth and expansion in the business. Where we get tripped up is we think that we have to hire like the best or full time.
Mm,
And you can find, let's say you're spending a little bit too much time answering common questions and emails. You can find someone to work for 3 hours a week at $15 an hour, $20 an hour. Show
right.
them how to answer, and all of a sudden you have 3 hours back a week. If you put those 3 hours and you get three sales, you're probably going to eclipse the cost, right? You're going to supersede that. So I think where we get tripped up is we're like, one, I don't have enough money. Two, I don't have enough time. One, if I'm going to train somebody like, and I have to pay them, like this is a double loss. But
Mm,
that's not how it works. We build our way out by identifying areas that create for us, create for the business, create energy in, money in, and then everything else should be done by somebody else.
mm,
I recognize that that's hard to do at the onset. And I think it is a mindset shift when you can say, how can I just get someone to take an hour off of my plate? Just an hour or two and
right.
begin the process. And I mean, hell, you can get a VA for $6, $7, $10 an hour
Right.
that can do a lot for you. Yes, there's training. And if you can begin that process, if you do it once, I did it in 2013. I got a VA, and at the first time I paid them and they took a task off my plate, I knew that I was in it forever.
Mm.
Start and then get better, but recognize that the cost is not prohibitive if you really look at what's going to drive the business forward.
Right. Yeah, I was just doing this before our call. I was making Loom videos for a VA so they can start editing my podcast. So I don't so I don't have to be the one who's editing this thing. I love talking to people. It's one of my high value tasks. It's one of the things that really brings it's a passion for me. Love talking on the podcast. It's very heavy for me to have to take these audio files,
Yep.
look at my computer, edit it, so that's something that I am now pushing off, man. Incredible, incredible stuff. I love this activity, this exercise for being able to identify which is which. And remember, I think something you said very solid to remember. If you can't identify if it's on the right or the left, it's probably supposed to be on the left, and you either need to get rid of it or hire it out. Guys, if you want more exercises like this, you want someone who could change your life pretty drastically, reach out to Aaron and his company, Get Out of Your Own Way, and they will have a huge impact on you. Aaron, where is the best place? And for everyone listening, make sure you listen to episode 1 of this, where Aaron dives a little bit deeper into what he does and some more mindset tactics and hacks. But Aaron, where can the listeners and watchers find you online?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search my name, Aaron, Aaron, Velky, V as in victory, Elky. On almost every platform, you can find me there. Thank you for a unique name, mom and dad.
Mm,
Uh, The best place to get in touch with us, if you want to learn about our coaching programs, the retreats that we host for entrepreneurs and individuals ready to make change, or our corporate workshops, team building, and leadership trainings, is to go to our website, www.getoutofyourownway.coach.
Mm.
So that website is a great place where you can book a discovery call. Any of you listening, you're welcome to book a time with us and just learn about our programs. If you've gone through this exercise and are ready to take your life to the next level, you can book a discovery call right on that site to not only go through what you dug up, but start making change. And on that website, we just launched a new one. It's like website 3.0, which is always an exciting iteration, right?
Nice.
And someone else did it, which is part of me staying in my lane and my
There
playing
you
big.
go. Good.
But if you take a look at that website, there's all kinds of information about what we have going on, what we're doing. If you follow on social, you'll get to read all of our stories, and we often give away a lot of our workbooks, kind of like this developing focus, through our newsletter, which you can sign up for on the website as well. So once a month, we send a newsletter out that's got another tool and
Mm.
a guide very similar to this conversation for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to take their life to the next level.
Fantastic. Guys, get on their website, get on a call with Aaron, and make sure that you sign up for that newsletter so you get notified from the Financial Freedom Fast podcast. Man, we've had Aaron V as in Victory Velky on today, man. Really appreciate having you on, brother. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and can't wait to get you back on for the third time again in the future.
Appreciate you, Matt. Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.